1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Welcome back to the TMCJ podcast. We are on episode 41, which, again, doesn't really mean anything. I'm running out of clever numbers.
Oh my god, 41? No way!
What's the one, the key to the universe, something and everything? It's from...
42.
42. Alright, that's next week.
Damn.
Something very
That's right, the
revealable.
answer to the universe, life, and everything next week.
Oh my god. You know what I just realized is we don't have our cameras on. We're not having a face-to-face conversation.
Oh yeah, shit. Well, that's fine. You just keep...
Alright.
There we go.
So, yep. This is our topic segment, segment 1. We both had a few things to talk about, but I wanted to open up with one because you reminded me of it. I was talking with Juan and Raymond. I think it was Juan that actually posted this. So, some other app, I think they're called Signal, they did an advertising campaign.
Right.
And they did it on Instagram. And the thing is, with Instagram, they actually... just like with Facebook, they're able to gather just a remarkable amount of information even about you, even if you don't have an account. They keep shadow profiles on people who know people who have those accounts.
Yeah, of course.
So it, like, you do end up with, like, some really creepy levels of information that they have. Mm-hmm. So,
this isn't going to be an Alex Jones segment, is it?
What? No.
This isn't going to be an Alex Jones segment, is it?
What do you mean?
The government, they're collecting data on you.
Well, it's not the government, it's Facebook. And, yeah, they are.
Okay, cool, it is. Alright, just checking.
But it's not a conspiracy theory. It's in their literature. Like, it's known. Every company that uses
No, sorry. I completely accept that they do accept it all. It's the fact that they use it for malicious ends.
They don't use it for malicious ends. They use it to sell you shit.
Hmm.
And
which some would say is malicious. That is true.
Well, yeah, but that's the whole. So that's Facebook. If you use Facebook and Instagram, you are not the customer. You are the product. You are there. So they gather your data. Like, you get to use the service for free, but then they sell all the data that they capture to companies that then use that data to advertise to you.
To be fair,
but let me get the story out because we're getting caught up on the background information. So what this company did was they did targeted ads, and basically what it did was the ad was just a block of text that said, "You're seeing this because Instagram thinks this, this, and this about you." So like, let me read one of them out.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, go on.
You got this ad because you're a K-pop loving chemical engineer. This ad used your location to see you're in Berlin, and you have a new baby and just moved, and you're really feeling those pregnancy exercises lately. So all of the ads are very specific like that, and it just the ads were designed to tell people, like, hey, this is the information about you that we used to give you this ad. And then it had, like, just the name of the company below, and it was some other messaging app. And anyway, Instagram banned them as an advertiser because they were kind of pulling the curtain back a little bit.
Yeah, no wonder. What I was going to say just now was, truthfully, have you ever seen an advert online and gone, I need this in my life? Have you ever gone and actually bought something that was advertised to you on, say, YouTube? Ever?
I definitely have, not on YouTube.
Okay.
I've seen ads come up on Amazon or probably on Facebook back when I used that, where it reminded me, like, oh yeah, I actually do need to pick this up. But most of the time, it's all just complete nonsense.
I don't think I've ever clicked on any of them.
But I think that puts people in the minority. I was, like, when I was having this... I've talked about this a few times with Juan and Raymond, and one thing Juan was saying was that, like, his wife actually uses Facebook as, like, a personalized, like, shopping service. Like, she actually likes the fact that it just knows what she wants to buy and tells her.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you have a specific account made for, like, you purposefully put in things that will get you feed on what you might actually want, that'd be quite smart, I think. But that seems like a lot of effort, considering, I don't know, whenever I'm shopping, and I am aware that I stand relatively alone in this, I only ever go and shop for the things that I know I want in advance. I very, very rarely ever see something and go, I want that.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the store I'm in. I most of the time I do the same. Like, I have something very specific in mind that I want to go get.
Yeah.
And then the times I'll browse a little bit are in... So, like, when I go to buy computer parts, actually in a store. There's a store called Micro Center near Boston that I go to. And
Right.
they've... I'll occasionally browse around and go like, oh, do they have anything cool on sale or something like that? And I'll browse around in like grocery stores or liquor stores or stuff because I'm like, do they have like a nice craft beer I want to try, or is there something like some recipe I can think up with something that's on sale at the grocery store? So those are places I'll browse. But if I'm going to like, I don't know, a clothing store, like some kind of big department store like a Walmart or a Target, typically I know exactly what I want and I'm going there to pick it up and then leave.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just leave. I mean, even when I was a kid, when me and my big brother used to go and stay with our grandparents, and there was this shop which was called Marshall's.
Mm-hmm. We have it over here too.
I think it's a different kind of shop, because the one that's here is a private store kind of thing.
Really?
And it's basically this guy he was actually on the news at one point, I think. And he sells like D&D stuff. He sells Warhammer. He sells figurines of every kind. He sells cool nerdy stuff.
Oh, that's a place that I'd probably browse around in a place like that too.
It is a very cool place, and having grown up, I probably would go there. But it was like a half-hour walk from the house, and he would want to go there, like, my brother would want to go there like every day or every other day, and I wanted to stay at home and play Digimon on the PlayStation. But I had to go and walk half an hour to a shop for my brother to look at the things on the shelf for 10 minutes, and then we'd walk home again.
Yeah.
I
remember...
mean, again, it's a really interesting store. This store had, like, you know how basically the older a toy is, the more value it gains, right?
Yeah, in theory.
He had, like, some micro machines, or whatever the fuck they're called, like, old little metal cars. Like, tiny little things that are obviously children's toys, and they were, like, £20. Because they were, like, a particular brand in their box and stuff like that. Like, actual, like, history of toys kind of thing.
Yeah.
Available to purchase. Very cool. But yeah, good God.
Yeah, that's something I probably should look into. I know I still have a bunch of like old toys from when I was a kid, like all the old Transformers toys.
Yeah, you still haven't got those Pokemon cards out.
No, I haven't. And you know what? The funny thing is, I was at my parents' house over the week, and I probably could have grabbed them then.
I'll try and remind you next time you're heading off.
Yeah. Oh.
But yeah, like the whole internet marketing. Also, as someone who does design, I should probably not be advocating against it so hard. But I don't know.
But I do think that, just from conversations I've had with other people, I do think that this attitude that you and I are talking about right now it's the minority. Like, most people actually are...
Yeah, they like going out and doing these things.
Yeah. And they like going out, browsing around. And this is... well, this shouldn't be that controversial to say. Is most financial purchases are made... No, I'm not going to say that.
Okay, fair enough. Have you got time to keep talking about, or shall I go on?
You can go. I do have one other thing, but it's kind of a tangent. It sounded like you had something else to talk about, so let's go on.
I forgot what it was now.
Okay, well, I'll talk about this then. So I like playing visual novels, right?
Yep.
And they kind of run the span. Like, the good ones typically are not adult games. I say that.
Yeah. They can keep you hooked without having to drop that level.
Yeah. And even the ones that have that kind of a content in it, it's usually like 5 minutes out of 120 hours of story.
Like Digimon, for fuck's sake.
Oh, God. Anyway, but one of the more famous ones that did venture heavily into the adult content, but also had a very good and kind of fucked up story.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this when I was editing the podcast last week's podcast, because we talked about movie adaptations or TV adaptations from, games or books or whatever. This visual novel that I'm thinking of, it's called School Days, got a anime adaptation from the visual novel, and the anime is not it doesn't have any of the adult content in it. But unlike what they normally do, normally when they take a visual novel that's fairly famous and then they make an anime out of it, they'll typically go with the good ending, right, or one of the most positive endings, or the who they consider the main character, because they all branch and go off in different pathways.
Yeah.
So Clannad is one of the more famous ones, and it's an all ages visual novel. And they went with probably the most happy, saccharine ending possible in the anime, because that's who, when they wrote the story, they wanted it to go down that path. So, but this one, when they adapted it, they not only chose a bad ending to be the ending to the anime, they chose literally the most worst, fucked up, horrible ending possible, to the point where the main character gets his head chopped off.
Oh, nice.
Oh
no.
So the story of the story of the visual novel is, this student gets involved in a bit of a love triangle between these two people, and depending on how the story goes, you can either end up with one or the other of them, to varying degrees of hurting the other person.
Yeah.
But if you fuck it up so badly to get this ending, one of the girls goes crazy and chops your head off and carries it around in a bag with her.
Nice.
That's the ending they went with in the anime.
Yeah, Jesus.
It was and it just, I was thinking about it this week, because when I was, like I said, when I was listening to the podcast, we were talking about adaptations, and I remembered that one, and I was like, holy shit. That was a good one. I should have brought that one up.
Yeah, that reminds me of the way they did XCOM in the first of the new series.
Did they
play through the game? Go on.
What's the new series?
The XCOM.
Oh, you're just talking about XCOM and XCOM 2?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, in the first game, you play it, you complete it, you rid the world of aliens. Coming into the second game, they're like, no, you actually didn't rid the world of aliens, and
they take over.
Yeah, I was about to say something that I probably can't say. They take over the planet by force, and then you're utterly screwed at the start of the second game.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I really personally like that way of doing things. Even though it's kind of cheeky, it's you didn't actually do that. It's a little bit cheeky, but at the same time, it's a good reason for them to have more content.
Yeah, and just for people that don't know, XCOM, it's like a third-person, tactical video game. So you have a squad of people, you command them on a battlefield, you're fighting aliens, and then you go back to a base, and then you're developing new technology and weapons, and the eventual goal...
Aliens are attacking Earth from Mars, is the premise.
And the eventual goal is to drive them off the planet, but in the second game, they assume you failed, yeah.
But yeah, it's good. In fact, I think the very first mission of the second part is getting you out of a stasis chamber, because they capture you and have you cocooned in this coffin thing.
I'm sorry, I knew about... I haven't played XCOM 2, but I knew about that part from the Zero Punctuation review. Because...
I bet he bashed it.
He did. Because he loved the first game, and in the second game, he's like, this is weird, because in the very first mission, they say, hurry, the commander has been captured. He's in a stasis pod, and we have to rescue him. And he's like, no, I'm not. I'm right here, lying on my couch, scratching my balls, eating a Zoopa Dooper. Because I think most players in the first game assume you're the commander, so why are you rescuing you from stasis?
It's a bit of an out-of-body experience for the first part, but that's it.
I just love that reaction. No, I'm not.
Shall I get to the pull along the topic, new topic?
Yeah, go for it. I think we've exhausted that one. I don't want to. We've got a lot to talk about today, so I don't want to beat any topic too long.
This is just like more of an interesting question that was posed to me earlier this week, and also to Scott. So you have heard about it briefly, but we haven't actually discussed it.
Okay.
What is the best way to quit your job?
I think that depends on, your motivation.
I think it depends on a lot of different things, but go on.
So I've personally, in my case, every time I've quit, I've wanted to continue in my industry. So,
yeah.
It would be, I think probably the most unconventional way I've ever quit a job. So, my first job, I was there on a contract basis, and they renewed my contract a couple times, but then after a while, they had hired new people, they didn't need me there, so I moved on to a new company.
Yeah.
My second job, I was stressed beyond belief. I had a crazy commute, but I just put in my 2 weeks, got a new job, and then moved on. But the job that I got after that, what I did was that job, I was just harrowed. As stressed as I am at my current job, I was just buried under in that one. I didn't even have a long commute to contend with. It was just, they had taken, when I joined, it was a 4-person department. They'd cut it down to just me. And they eventually let me hire someone, but that one person was fresh out of college. Great at his job and really smart, and I was able to train him, and he was actually helping a lot, but it was still 2 people doing the work of 4.
Yeah.
So that job, I was one day, I had been carrying around my resignation letter with me for a week. And then
ready to get pissed off. And then
finally at 4 p.m. on it was a Thursday or something like that, and I just couldn't motivate myself to do anything. I'm it finally snapped. I was I can't stay here anymore.
Yeah.
So I just walked into my boss's office, shut the door, and handed him the letter. It's I'm sorry. I'm putting in my 2 weeks.
When you said walked in and shut the door, I was like, wait, you murdered him?
No. Well, but the thing is, I had no job planned after that. I just basically I was I have enough money in the bank to live for a couple months. I'll find a job before then, or I'll figure something out, but I can't stay here anymore. And it did end up working out. I took a month off before I found my next job, and then moved on, and that's where I am now. But again, those
sounds like you've had some pretty good quitting experiences. My experiences have not been good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Go on, finish what you're saying.
No, but I think if you have no intention to keep working in an industry, or if you don't care about burning bridges, I can't really burn bridges in my industry, especially in the region of the country I live in, because everyone knows everyone in this industry around where I live. So yeah, I really can't burn bridges unless I intend to move out of this industry altogether.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you don't care about burning bridges and the job's really been shitty, tell people off and then leave. Or just walk out the door and don't talk to them again.
Man, that's the ethos that we use when online playing games.
Just mute your boss.
So I've quit 2 jobs in the past, and they were both the kind of they weren't career jobs, they were just jobs, right?
Yeah.
So the first one I had during college, and I won't name any specifics because but I had been working it for half a year, I want to say, and they, much like you said with yours, they had half the amount of people for twice the amount of work. And I think one day it was me and maybe one other person or 2 other people who were doing literally about 6-7 jobs all at once, and I was working my arse off, sweating, and there was no end in sight, and I was getting told off for not working even faster.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of moments like that where my opinion drops and drops and drops until eventually it was I don't know, it was the beginning of December, so obviously it's going to get even worse, and I was just right, I'm gonna fucking call it, because I'm not going to make it through Christmas otherwise.
Hmm.
So I talked to people. They're like the second in command is in the office with me, and she's like, "Okay, so this can be your last day if you want. We won't make you do like the extra month or so that you are required to do in the contract. We'll just say you can finish at this time, so you can be basically at home at Christmas."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Brilliant, thank you. It's really nice of you." So that was the second in command I was talking to.
Yeah. Oh, and did the boss like not agree?
It's Christmas Eve, and I'm up in an entirely different part of the country with my relatives.
Yeah.
And I get a phone call at about 7 p.m.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's the top boss, the fucking... Oh god, I just did not like that guy at all. He is
Boss Alpha.
very arrogant. Anyway, yeah, so he calls me up and he's like, "Where the hell are you? You should be here." And I'm like, "Oh my god, I understood that I wasn't a thing. I thought I was already done. I'm sorry." And he's like, "You get back down here right now." And I'm like, "I'm on the other side of the country. I can't do shit. Like, it's not happening." And he's like, "All right, well then, don't bother coming back next week." And I'm like, "Great, I didn't plan on it. I thought I'd quit anyway." Excellent. But yeah, it was quite unsettling, especially because this was like my first job.
It's like, "You can't come in? Well, then you're fired. I already quit."
It's like, okay, dude. He's just very hostile, very aggressive dude. But yeah, that was kind of like my first one. The second time,
Yeah.
a lot more recent, I had far nicer people I was working with. I worked there for about 2 years.
Oh, actually, I just thought of another story that goes on this theme, but tell yours first.
Okay, yeah. And yeah, so I've been working there for 2 years. I had no hostility against any of the people there. But they did the resignation thing was all like an online-based system, and their online, their intranet, as it were, is really badly put together. Like,
So did you have to call IT to help you quit?
No. So I went through the form,
Yeah.
and I read a line as it basically said, "What date do you want to quit on?" I was like, "Okay, great." I chose the date I wanted to quit on, assuming it would then say, "All right, you need to work an extra 2 weeks after that because that's in the contract."
Yeah.
No, it meant this is the day that you stop coming to work.
Oh, God.
And so I'd warned my boss in advance, and I filled out the form online and sent it off, and he's like, "No, you just quit on that day. You idiot." I'm like, "I'm sorry, dude. I'll come in for the extra 2 weeks." But he was such a nice dude. He was like, "You've got a bunch of overtime anyway," and I haven't messed him around in the past too much, so he's just like, "It's all right. You can go at that time. No ill feelings." And I really did appreciate that because it's nice to when you fucked off. It's really nice to have someone actually be understanding as opposed to just shouting at you.
Yeah. So now, I don't have any stories about things going poorly, let's say, but I did think of an instance where I've seen them go poorly.
Oh yeah.
So that same company that I left without a job to go to afterwards, I briefly mentioned that they downsized the department from like 4 to 1 people, essentially.
Right. Yeah.
Now, what had actually happened, to go into more details, like they had essentially brought in like a new guard because this site wasn't doing so well. Because it had been bought. It wasn't like this company set up a new site here. It's like, oh, we want to have a site here, and they found this one and then bought it, and then were kind of slapped their logo on it, and then had their management structure. But a lot of the people were still there from when the company was independent, and they weren't all that good at their jobs.
Right.
And so one day when it became clear to the higher ups that things weren't going to be fixed properly with those people in, they just kicked out a ton of them. And it apparently happened very abruptly. And I kind of knew it was coming because I was staying late one night, and the old president of the company, who was still there in some capacity. I think he was like his title was like site manager or something like that after it got bought. He came like storming out of one of the conference rooms, like red-faced and angry. And apparently it's because he got to keep his job, but a lot of his people from when the company was just him, and he was the head of it, they were going to get let go. And it just happened all at once. Like, I was at my desk, I walked by, my boss's name was Kevin, I was like, hey Kevin, just walked past, and then went to my desk, started working, and then about 30 minutes later, I get a text message, and I just open it up, and it's my boss. He's like, hey, I'm on the road, I just got fired.
Oh, Jesus.
So, I liked that guy because he was very blunt, like, he was easy to talk to.
Yeah.
But it was just, I was like, what? And sure enough, like a half hour after that, they gathered everyone in like the warehouse and gave like, hey, we just had to let a lot of people go, and just so you know, this is what happened, and this is why we did it. And but I already knew about it because I had gotten a text from my boss, and it was just like a one-line thing. It's like, hey, just so you know, I'm on the road now. I just got fired.
I mean, was it like, the people who were fired, were they given a chance to buck up?
No.
Or
I think
okay.
This had they had been given several chances at this point, and things weren't really changing, and so...
I was going to say, it's a bit cruel if they were just like...
Well, but I mean, they got severance.
Unaware of it.
Like, it's at-will employment,
right, yeah.
so unless they had they didn't have a reason to fire these people, like, not a hard and fast, like, you are screwing this up, and so we have to let you go. It was when they just decided to slice off, like, a bunch of these people who were not performing in their eyes. And so when they do that, at least around, like, in my state, they have to provide some form of severance, which is usually, like, a couple months' salary.
Yeah.
So it's not like they just got kicked out on the street with no money. They got kicked out on the street, but they would have still gotten paid for a few months while they were looking for more work. Oh,
that's very good.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of more. There were a bunch of really good quittings at that job. There was this one guy who came in, and he was a project manager, I think, or a project director, something like that. I can't remember. Project something in his title.
Right.
He literally lasted for about 3 weeks before he quit. And all he did when he came in there, he'd go into his office, leave the door open, and shout on the phone for about an hour in the morning. And it was never work. He was either yelling at his wife or yelling at the person doing work on his boat. And that was it.
Jesus. How pretentious can you get?
And then after 3 weeks, he just quit. He wasn't even there a month. Oh my god.
Who was he managing?
He was a project manager. So the place, this was like it was a contract company, so bigger companies would come to us to do like small scale manufacturing and testing for them. And so he would manage the projects given to us by the companies that would come to us to actually do this work. I'm being purposely vague because
obviously.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what his job would have been. And I just remember they didn't replace him for a while, and so we just used his office as an extra conference room. But he had gotten his business cards, and they were still in the office. So I used to make, like, during boring meetings, I would just make card pyramids out of them. God. Yeah. There were a few instances like that were just funny.
See, whenever I'm in a meeting, unless it's one where it's like one where it's basically one person talking and you're meant to just shut up and listen, which I don't really call that a meeting, that's more a lecture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always like very forward with my opinions, and I think everyone should be at meetings, really, because I mean that's the only way you're going to get the truth of matters out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like a lot from what I've heard of your musings, a lot of meetings tend to be more like listening to people use catchphrases and keywords,
vague corporate speak.
Yeah. Maybe they're trying to get you to, because you're like you there are people that work under you, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they want you to use these words on them.
Well, yeah, I don't use the like.
No, I know you. You're very upfront about things, I think, but
But the thing, I still like the way I talk, here, and the way I talk, like just among friends. I tend to be extremely like blunt and straightforward. But
yeah,
I do moderate that at work. Like I
you have
tend
to be a little diplomatic.
Yeah, I do tend to speak professionally. I don't swear at work. I keep a general. I soften my language, but I don't. I still talk a lot more bluntly than most people do in this environment. Like, it's always just this vague. It's never like, all right, let's do this. It's, well, I believe that we should consider this, and that means let's do it. It's just it drives me insane.
What's bad is when people don't recognize that you're being polite. They're like, oh, if he only thinks maybe we should do it. No, I don't think maybe. But I'm not going to say you're going to do this.
Well, there's a project that I've been leading at my company since last August, and we had a 6-month time frame to get some like stuff done. And because they put me in charge of the project, I'm like, well, I'm going to lead this the way I want to lead it. And sure enough, we actually finished everything we needed to in 6 months, and people were like, wow, we didn't think this could happen. I was like, it's amazing what can be done if you just say what you mean instead of talking in vague generalities.
Yeah. God, we're doing a lot of that in the course that I'm doing. There's a large emphasis on something called the Scrum Alliance. It's like a method of management.
Oh, yeah.
And so we have one person who who's the Scrum Master for a project.
Yeah.
That person will emphasize other people. He doesn't assign tasks to people. He emphasizes people to pick their own tasks. Because that's what they will pick the task that they are good at generally, and then he will assist them in trying to complete that task and not, forcing them to do anything. And it's quite difficult.
There's all these. I've had conversations with my boss about. Now this is just work stories. I've had conversations with my boss about setting up. Or his favorite like management style is he calls it servant leaders or something like that. Essentially, it's your job as a leader is just to find out what your people need and then do that for them or something like that.
I mean that's essentially the same thing.
That's when you were talking about it. It sounded very similar to that. But I don't know, there's all these different techniques and stuff. I just kind of go with honestly most of because I am like a manager at my job now, so I do actually have to have people reporting into me. And most of the management style that I use, I'm thinking, like, where did I pick a lot of this stuff up? And some of it is just from watching other people that I've worked with in the past, but a lot of it is because I've read a lot of military history books.
Right.
And so, like, I was like, oh, where did this come from? Oh, yeah, The Art of War. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Famous business practice.
Oh, yeah, exactly. All right, we're kind of coming up on the end here, and now we're just telling stories. Anything you want to close out with?
I feel like we could probably run even longer with business jargon talk, but maybe we'll save that for another time.
Yeah, that is true. God, that could be a topic all in its own.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is going to be the end of segment 1 of the TMCJ podcast. Thank you all for listening, and you will hear us again momentarily for segment 2. Welcome back to the TMCJ podcast. We are on segment 2, our media segment, and we had movie night this week.
We did. We finally got round to it.
Yeah, and it was Blue's
choice.
We
did it last week as well, didn't we?
Yeah, we had Starlight last week.
In fact, we did it we had this movie night immediately after the podcast, pretty much of last week's.
Yeah, and it's my choice this week, and I can't wait for that one. But want to tell us what your choice was?
I say today. I mean this week. Actually, technically, it was last week. We watched Dred. We watched Judge Dred, the good one, with that sexy man and the rookie who's all right. I guess I can't remember her actual name in the film.
I think he just refers to as rookie like 90% of the time.
Probably, yeah. No, I think he actually called her by a name, but I just don't know what that name was. Yeah. Do you want to give this? I know you love giving the synopsis.
All right, sure. So, Judge Dred, the good one, as you said, When was this one released? Because there was an old one with the same guy.
I'll look it up while you blab.
Yeah. Okay. So it's set in a dystopian future where basically crime is just completely rampant. People live in these giant megacity buildings, which are essentially self-contained cities, but just in this giant, like 200-story, massive building. Basically, all Law and Order is essentially boiled down to, well, it's gotten so bad that they've created a group of the judges, and like they say they are judge, jury, and executioner and everything. So there's a crime that happens, and I think they mention at one point that there are like 600 crimes a day, and so they have to prioritize because they can only get to like 10% of them or something like that.
Yeah, 5%.
Yeah, 5%. And so if they find someone, they find what crime they've done, then they call in. If it's something they just have to be locked up for, they call in a team, they put them in a cryo prison, and then they move on. If it's something that's death worthy, they just shoot them and they're done, and they move on, and they call in like a disposal team. The movie,
it's very easy to break the law in this universe.
Yeah, but it's also because there's so many people breaking the law. It's basically a roll of the dice if you're ever going to get caught.
Basically, you throw a rock and you'll hit a guilty person in this place. So the judges are just going around because they don't have time to like arrest people and put them in front of a court of law and all that kind of stuff. So literally, they go out, they analyze the situation. Are you guilty? Yes, no, bam.
Yeah, essentially. So the movie follows one particular judge, Judge Dred, and a new rookie recruit who it's established early on that she failed her aptitude test for being a judge, but just barely. But because she has latent psychic abilities, like she can read people's minds, she actually, they decide they're going to, put her on the force, and Judge Dred is going to be her trainee. He's going to, take her around, and if she makes the cut with him as her overseer, then she gets to be a judge. If he goes on this rant, he's like, anything you do, or he's like, if you do this, instant fail. If you do this, instant fail. And it's like, I don't know, their dynamic throughout the movie was one of the things that I thought made it like awesome, because she's clearly trying like really hard to pass the test.
Yeah.
But she doesn't ever come off as like obsequious or like kind of like ignorant or nervous or anything like that. She's constantly...
Well, she definitely... I think there are times when she has moments of doubt.
Yeah. Doubt, but never like... She never breaks down in like a panic or anything like that.
Yeah, but at least she recomposes. Like, the time when she's reading that dude's mind and he does the fucked up thing in his mind.
Yeah.
And she's like, holy shit. And then she like punches him in the face.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they go in, and there are like 3 murders in this building, and it turns out that it was like a gangland execution. And so they find out the gang kingpin is at the top of the building, and they decide, okay, we're going to go up there and take in the person who did this. And the problem is, when they take in the person that did the murders, they're taking him in for an arrest. They didn't kill him because they're going to question him. Now, the problem is the gang kingpin, like, he can give her away if they question him. The gang kingpin, the leader of this gang, is a woman named Mama, they established was like she was a prostitute who like got roughed up by her pimp, and then so she fucking, the word they used is feminized him, which you can kind of figure what that means. And so then
she took over the ring.
So she manages to lock down the whole building, and now it's kind of a game of cat and mouse, which Judge Dredd and the trainee judge, they have to fight their way out, either to lift the lockdown and get out of the building and call for help, or to beat the gang kingpin lady and then get out that way. And so it's this epic action movie from then on. They're trying to keep their prisoner alive and get him out, and they're also trying to survive and at the same time fight off these hordes of gang members that are being sent at them by this woman who's the one who's in charge of the building.
Yep.
And it's just
the reason she rose to power is because she has a new revolutionary drug, basically.
Yeah, and the drug was called slow-mo. Essentially, it just makes everything around you seem like it's going at a fraction of the speed. And I want to the effects they used in the movie to show what it looked like when you were on the drug looked like wicked cool.
Right?
Like
All
everything
like,
is overexposed and rainbow colored, and it's all just moving in this crazy slow mo. Oh,
really makes you want to take some drug. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that.
Well, especially not because they actually use that drug as in the executions too.
Yeah, to like, it's kind of really fucked up to think about. So I don't know if we should say it on here. I don't think we should, but
essentially, just imagine what we just described that drug did. Now imagine falling 200 stories while on that drug.
Yeah,
messed up.
Yeah, but no, I feel like we've touched on Mama, but honestly, her character is one of the I think I said this at the time, one of the best villains.
Yeah.
Like, a really, she's clearly respected and feared by the people who work under her. She's not doing anything out of the ordinary for the sake of the plot. Everything she does is calculated and thought through. She's not stupid.
We've touched on this a few times, just in previous podcasts, but it's really rare when you have like a really good villain. Like, not rare, but it really sticks with you. Like, the villain is almost as important as the protagonist. Like,
and they didn't go all, like, broken down weeping when they finally got to her. She was like, no, looked him straight in the face, took the fucking hit from the thing that was being forced on her, and then like just fell.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. She, like, the final standoff, she didn't beg him, she didn't do anything. She just is like, oh, by the way, I got a bomb strapped to my wrist. The whole building will blow up if you kill me.
Yeah, pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. And then the way it resolves, massive spoilers, is Dred goes like, oh, I wonder what the signal range on that bomb is, and then he kicks her out the window. Yeah. And so, she falls like 200 stories, and the bomb doesn't go off, so...
Yeah, a bit of a risk considering the number of lives that are in that apartment.
Yeah. But again, that's the it really speaks to that dystopian nature of the world where
even imagine the visceral cleanup detail crew that go in and that building afterwards.
It's viscera cleanup detail are the game.
Just like to make it quickly, you just throw stuff off the balcony, have a furnace at the bottom.
Well, in that kind of a world, maybe they did have something like that.
Honestly, probably. I mean, they had like the robots at the beginning that were just like mopping up the blood from the first fight we saw.
But yeah, Mama was a good villain. The character I really ended up like, Judge was really well done, but he was kind of a monolith to the point where when he kind of like. At the very, very end of the movie, like, he does one little thing, like, because he stays on the straight and narrow as much as you can in this
Yeah.
He
never
universe.
takes off his helmet, which is an absolute no-no. As in, to take off your helmet.
Yeah, which is why this is the good Judge Dredd, because I think in the original one, what the hell is his name?
Sylvester Stallone. Yeah.
Okay, it was Stallone. He took his helmet off, like, every 5 seconds in that movie, from what I've been told. I haven't seen the movie,
but... I have. There were like cannibals and all sorts of things in that one. But they had like Sylvester Stallone, like they had to take the fucking helmet off. They had to show people they have this big name actor. But I don't think it was a good decision because I don't think Dred ever takes his helmet off in the comics. No one ever sees his face.
Yeah, my understanding is that's part of his character.
Yeah, like he is meant to be this a force of nature, not a person.
Yeah, well, it's the same reason where they have like executioners are. Like, wear a mask. Like, old school executioners. The people who would... Like, hangmen and,
this otherworldly being,
Yeah, they're not meant to be, like, a person who, like, is recognizable. It's just, they are the instrument of the state. They are not acting as an individual. It's symbolic. And that's the idea behind the judges, is they are the impartial, like, impassive hand of justice. They are not that individual.
But yeah, I think the rookie was also really good.
Yeah, I loved her character. Like, again, it was a very... I think you were right. I was wrong to say that she's completely unflappable throughout the entire movie, but you could tell that there were moments where she was like nervous or unnerved or something like was clearly getting to her. But I think it says a lot about the actress that she was able to convey not only because she stayed, you know, stone faced and everything she said was kind of you know, towing the line, but you could tell like she was really conveying just with the way she was acting, the way her face looked, that she was a bit unnerved and a bit on edge throughout the entire thing.
If she was cold and lifeless like Dred, it wouldn't have been the same movie.
Yeah. There
wouldn't have been any... It would have just been like the enemies up against this wall that just pushed through the foundation and killed everyone.
Yeah.
As it was like the freaking scene where he's like trying to overpower her, and then she... in their minds. And then she does that thing, which we can't talk about.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, that's so fun. It's incredibly difficult to watch because of the subject matter, but it's very funny at the same time.
Yeah, and I do want to mention the bit that you talked about where the guy was getting in her head. So early on, when they're escorting the prisoner out, and they've just been locked down and they're kind of hiding around a corner, and Dred's gone to scout ahead or something, and she's got the prisoner, and he at this point realizes that she's psychic because something had, you know, shown it earlier, like she wasn't trying to hide it. He says something, he's like, so you can read anything in my head, and then it flashes to what she can see, and it's him banging her in a very elaborate fantasy.
They're making tacos together. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Making tacos. And you know, she, like you said, just you know, smacks him.
Yeah. And then later on, sorry, go on. I'll see you finish.
I think no, she doesn't smack him at first. She goes like she just kind of casually goes like, your lame fantasies mean nothing to me. Like, is that supposed to impress me? And then they don't show it on screen, but he apparently thinks about something much worse, and then that's when she smacks him. Yeah,
it was because they like do a brief clip show of a bunch of different images that are very disturbing. And I guess that's why. But yeah, no. Later on, when he physically has her in chains and he's got the gun that doesn't belong to him.
Oh my god, yeah.
Saw that coming a fucking mile off, but it was so good.
Well, that's the thing. And at the end of the movie, this is what I mean. Like, Judge Dredd acts as a monolith, but he has like one human moment in the whole movie, I'd say. And that's at the very, very end, where she, like the trainee, the rookie, is walking away. And he says something like, oh, you did good. And she's like, no, I lost my weapon. That's an instant fail. And then she just walks away from him. And he doesn't say anything. But then when the commander comes up and asks like how she did, he's like, you know, he just says, excellent. You know, she'll make a great judge or something like that. So it's like the one instance where he didn't follow the letter of the law.
Yeah.
And it was like that one little human moment.
Yeah. It does show that he is not a total robot, but at the same time, obviously she did a insane job, so it kind of makes sense that she would be like, she didn't even need her weapon in the end, basically.
Well, but that's the thing. I found that to be just an excellent point of subtlety, because you see this guy basically being a robot throughout the entire course of the movie. Essentially, like, he's unmovable, and he just is has just this absolute ironclad conviction, and it says something of how well they did that character, that it was so noticeable to me, that one little tweak at the end.
Although, now I think about it, it doesn't make much... Like, if you get instantly fired from being a judge if someone takes your weapon, why have they got the gun explodes on a person touching it function?
Probably just in case the judge dies, because it's like, if the judge dies, somebody picks up their gun, they want to make sure that no one else is using that thing, because that was like... It was a pistol that had like 18 different kinds of ammo in it. It had like incendiary shots, explosive. Yeah. Armor penetration. Like, it was like a pistol that could fire like a million different kinds of bullets.
Yeah. Also, I know it was a very brief scene. It was probably like 15, 20-second scene. But there's a rogue judge which is going after the rookie.
Mm-hmm.
And this rogue judge is like, it's fine. She doesn't know that I'm rogue. If she sees me first, I'll disarm her with being a judge, and then I'll shoot her. If I see her first, I'll shoot her.
Yeah.
And it comes to it, and then the psychic, the rogue judge also doesn't know she's psychic. She walks around the corner and she's like, "Oh, it's all right, rookie, it's me." And she just blows her kneecap off. It's like, what the fuck? That was so fast and abrupt.
Well, it's because they do a good job of that throughout the movie. Like, they don't over-explain things.
No.
They kind of trust you to infer what happened. Like, right there, it's like, clearly, she read her mind.
Yeah.
And then just shot her.
But yeah, it was just like, there was no remorse. No fucking remorse. Just stood up, stepped over the body and kept going.
Yeah.
Damn. That was cool.
Yeah, there's
yes.
Oh, and then there's the whole thing with the dude that she shoots, and no, she didn't let him go. Shot him in the face, and they later like hide in that dude's family's apartment.
Yeah.
So like they do a good job of like it's there's no good people in this world essentially, because they're killing all these gang members, but that moment kind of shows that they're gang members, but they're gang members because that's the best paying employment in this city block. Like, yeah. Which, it's fucked up, but, they're...
I mean, she still did the right thing, technically, because, I mean, the guy was a gang member pointing a gun at her. Like, so she did the right thing. It was just... the whole thing about, everyone's got a family. Everyone's got a mother or father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Speaking of... Actually, that's a good... Do you have more to talk about on this movie? Because that's actually a good transition point.
No. I'll just say there's a lot of really good points in it. I'd highly recommend this one. It's a very good movie, I think.
If you're not a huge fan of, like, a lot of
viscera
of violence, then probably not the right movie. But if you're looking for, like, a really good, like, action movie that actually has good writing in it, too, I mean, yeah, go for this one.
Those are rare.
Yeah, it was awesome. Because it was an action movie with a really good story.
Yeah. And
really competent writing. So the other thing I've been watching this week, I've been rewatching Dragon Ball Z, like the original series.
Oh, yeah?
And just going through the whole thing. Amazon was having a sale, and I bought like the whole series on Blu-ray.
Oh god, how much was that?
About $150. But I mean, if I were to buy them at full price, it would have been double that.
Yeah, I know. God, anime is notoriously expensive.
Yeah, and this is a long series. Like Dragon Ball Z, I think it's like 200 and something episodes.
Mm. I remember as a kid trying to get like the Bleach DVDs, and they are just very expensive. Anyway,
Anyway, so I remember buying Dragon Ball Z on VHS, and it was like $20 for one cassette.
Jesus. Yeah.
Anyway, so I've been rewatching it, and one thing that struck me, I'm not going to go into the series. Two things watching it as an adult now that didn't really strike me is because I think the last time I watched it, I was still an adult, but I was in my early 20s when I watched it last. And I'm finding myself having more pity for some of the villains, and I'm also finding myself bored with some of the extended fight scenes. Like, I feel like I know why they did it, because it's entertaining, it's flashy, keep the kiddos watching. But I find myself like, okay, I get it. He punches you, you punch him. This guy's a little bit more powerful. He wins. Can we just, truncate this a little bit? But it was the saga that just started in between season 3 and 4. So there's the Frieza saga where they're on an alien planet and they're fighting this super powerful being called Frieza. They think they've beaten her or him. I always thought it was a woman when I was younger, but apparently it's supposed to be a guy. He makes it back to Earth and in like a cybernetic form, and then gets like killed by this new character that shows up that introduces this next season in like a couple hits. Now, what I found myself like kind of surprised by was I actually found myself pitying that character Frieza. This character's horrible. It wiped out all the aliens on the planet that they were on before, like just mercilessly, just to get
was there
something.
a reason for it though?
Just basically he wanted their stuff.
Okay.
That was it. It was just, they had the Dragon Balls, and he wanted to wish for immortality, and so he wanted the Dragon Balls for himself, and then like he mercilessly kills some of the main characters and stuff too, and so, by no means a good person. But near the end of the fight, the main character of the whole series, Goku, essentially lets this character live, Frieza, and says something like, I don't need to kill you. Like, the shame of knowing that you've been defeated by, a mere whatever is enough. Live with that and think about what you've done. And then this character, obviously not able to accept this, just uses the last of his power to attack Goku, who is way more powerful than him, blows him away, and that's the end of that fight. But anyway, this character Frieza survives. Cybernetic augmentation comes back, and when the character lands, like, there's moments where I'm like, holy crap, this character has like PTSD, because he's having like flashes, keeps thinking he sees Goku out the corner of his eyes, and is just like you can see it's like causing a lot of stress for him and stuff. And this character deserved everything they got because of all the horrible things they'd done, but I found myself pitying them because, like, just the whole they'd clearly been traumatized. What's the way to sum that up? Like, even evil people can be traumatized.
Yeah, they're only human kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, actually, I don't know because in that anime, there are different species of.
They
people,
are,
so
but they're all just basically humans that look weird.
Yeah, humanoid.
Yeah.
No, the what you're saying about fights going on too long, I think, oh God, it is a pitfall that so many franchises have fallen into so many times.
Yeah.
The most recent one, and I'm gonna be harping on about this for weeks, alright guys, just Digimon. In the first season, there's a big fight between Motusmon, who's basically a vampire, against like the whole team. And that single fight spreads across like 3 episodes, it feels like, or more. It gets very boring. If they had kept it to like a 10-minute fight sequence, that would have been epic. I probably would have remembered it in a far fonder way, and we would have moved on. The same with I remember back in the day, One Piece, on the like Flower Island, which is super late in the series. They're fighting this like flamenco dude for literally like over 10 episodes, and every time they do something, there's a freaking flashback like it's Bleach again. And like we have to sit through another episode of something completely unrelated before getting back to the fight to have another flashback to go to a completely different genre in time. And it's like, come on, we want to see the fight. This is not a fight, this is a documentary now.
They do the exact same thing in Dragon Ball. That fight that I was talking about with Frieza, the initial fight lasts like 20 episodes or something like that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I don't think it's that long, but it's ridiculously long. And there's a meme with Dragon Ball Z because at one point Frieza fires like a thing into the planet that's going to blow it up, and he's like, "Oh, planet will blow up in 5 minutes." That lasts for 8 episodes.
That really does describe it perfectly.
It's the longest 5 minutes ever known.
It's like switching between every character in the universe, like showing their perspective of those 5 minutes, I guess.
They do that, but I've seen people actually time it out. If you just look at the scenes that's happening on the planet, but where they're fighting, it's like several hours. So,
sorry, Scott just sent me He just sent me a single word with a question mark at the end that's like, Carneal?
Okay.
¿Cómo estás, Modafuka? Okay. Thanks, Scott.
Okay, so just, Mid-podcast, our friends are
Yeah.
messaging us in Pig Latin, apparently.
Well, Spanish, kind of.
Oh, God.
Yeah, no, what was that anime? Oh, okay, so... Going back to Digimon. Again.
Yeah.
We've moved on to that second actual series where it's the new characters now, right? Did you ever watch this series?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
I
it's
stopped.
very disappointing.
I stopped after the season where they've got the armor Digivolve thing, right?
That's the one we're on now. This is season 2, yeah.
That I finished that one, and that's when I stopped
Okay.
watching because I think that one was out when I was 10 or 12, somewhere around that age.
There's like an immediate drop in quality from after the first season. Even the Digivolution sequences... Okay, so in the first season, the Digivolution sequences happened every episode. They took a lot of time. They were just a bit of a drag. And I ended up like skipping through like 10 seconds ahead every time a Digivolution started. Because it was the same thing every time. In the second one, they do the exact same thing, except they switch it from awesome music to shitty music while it's happening. And instead of like fast moving images of like this really cool art, it's slowly rotating objects. 3 slowly rotating objects on the screen, slowly moving towards each other. And like that's for like 10-15 seconds every Digivolution, and it sucks.
I think what we're finding out here is that the shiny, flashy bells and whistles that got the kiddos excited really don't work when you're an adult.
Right, well, I don't think it would have excited me even as an adult. Like, as a
child.
I meant, yeah. Like, it's just... How... Did they get... They must have had a new design team. Because a lot of things have changed since the first season. But even the story is, like, not nearly as gripping as the first.
I agree. So I agree that the overarching story... I did like the beginning of that second series where they had, like, the evil guy actually being, like, somebody who had been corrupted. The guy that was putting up all those pillars, or the obelisks, or whatever.
I don't think I've seen that part yet. I'm on, like, episode 3, bear in mind.
Oh, okay.
He's got, like, the collars on all the Digimon, he's enslaving them to fight each other.
Yeah, yeah. So, the way that they resolve... Have you seen this whole thing before?
I can't remember.
Okay. I won't spoil it for you then, because I like the twist at the end of that saga. I actually found really interesting.
Okay.
There is a twist.
Is it as long as the first season?
I don't remember.
Because the first season was like 60 episodes. I think this one's only like 30 episodes.
So you're probably right about the second season is not as memorable. Like, I remember... I can probably tell you almost all of the plot points from the original season. But the second one, I can remember a few major points and like the ending, and that's it. So... But again, it's been ages since I've watched that at all. I don't think...
Cool.
Digimon is a series that I never rewatched. Like, I watched it as a kid and then never went back to it.
I mean, I'm only watching it again because I've got Alicia as an excuse to watch it again, basically. And because I loved, like, the first parts, like, particularly the Etamon episode. I love Etamon. He's adorable, he's awesome, he has the coolest job.
Etamon in this series being essentially a humanoid monk guy in a monkey suit.
No. Oh, wait, Etamon, not Etamon. Fuck. Did I say Etamon?
You said Etamon.
I meant Elecmon. Etamon can fuck himself. He's horrible. He's disgusting.
I was going to say, it's a weird choice.
Yeah, Elecmon. Very cool looking, very cool job. He's like a hedgehog that's blue and red. He's like a British hedgehog.
I don't remember that guy.
And he looks after the nursery.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and he fires electricity. He's cool.
Yep, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah, not Etamon. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, I was going to say, that guy is basic. He's like an Elvis parody.
I think he's actually taken from the fucking actual band. I forgot what they're called. There's literally a music video of people dressed up in suits with sunglasses on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a very famous song. I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah, doesn't matter. All right. We're kind of... I mean, we're coming up on the end of this. Do you have any... Is there anything else we want to talk about? I'm trying to think if I'm continuing to read that... I'm going to hit. I'm at this point with several book series. That Formic Wars series that I talked about, ages ago on the podcast. I'd read the first 3 audiobooks, and then they made a second series, and it's going to be a trilogy. And only the first 2 audiobooks are out, and the last one was released in 2019. So
wait, what series was this again?
The Formic Wars. It's in the same universe as Ender's Game. That sci-fi series. It's a classic sci-fi series. Came out in the 80s. I've heard of it, but I've never read it.
Oh, okay, right.
This is a prequel series, and I just needed a new audiobook to listen to. This one looked good, and it has been very, very good so far. But I'm just worried. I'm in this place with so many book series. Song of Ice and Fire, or as most people know it now, Game of Thrones, which is the name of the first book. Only the first 5 books are out. There's going to be 7, so I'm stalled on that series. King Killer Chronicle. I've been waiting on the 3rd book in that trilogy for 10 years now. Not that long, but the first one came out in 2007, the second one came out in 2012, and the 3rd one, the guy has been delaying and I have the manuscript, but it's not ready yet. So I've been waiting on that one for a long time, and now this is another series. I'm going to finish the 5th audiobook, and the 6th one isn't going to be out until 2022 or something.
Oof.
So I have a bad habit. This is why I like movies and TV shows. I tend to go to older stuff because it's already done. I don't have to wait.
Yeah, you can get more content of it because it's going to be released already.
Yeah. At least, with Invincible, that series that I was talking about last week that I loved the ending to. I kind of want to read the comics now because the comics are finished. But the TV show they just finished the first season.
Yeah. So
the next season won't be out until 2022.
At least it stops you binge watching. That's something, I guess.
Yeah, that is true.
Sorry.
No. Just binge watching is a problem because when everything is available, I tend to go into I can watch one more episode before bed, and then before I know it, it's midnight.
Yeah. I'm really eager to, because I think it's meant to come out again this year, is the next Witcher.
I do want to see more of that. I've talked about that before. I love the books. Series, the Netflix series, the game series is excellent too. The Witcher 3 is a fucking classic game. It's just, I've been wanting to replay it again. It's got its flaws like everything else, but it was the writing was excellent. The gameplay was pretty fun. But the Netflix TV show takes more from the books, but they took creative license in a couple areas that I thought they shouldn't have. That really annoyed me. I think they severely weakened Yennefer as a character, the female witch that's kind of Geralt's off and on love interest throughout the stories.
Oh.
She in the books, I thought she was in the books and the games. She's a much stronger character, but in the TV show, they tried to make her into some kind of a whiny victim lady, and it just didn't work. She was strong and powerful in the books, and in the TV show, they kind of made her more of a whiny girl.
I mean, she is still very powerful.
She's very powerful, but in different ways. So
yeah, when she interacts with the Witcher himself, she does seem a bit, I don't know, annoying, really.
So they changed her backstory, and I feel like it kind of first of all, this is not meant to be offensive to anyone, but in the TV show they made her baby crazy, which she isn't in the books and in the video games.
Because they were going on about the fact that she can't have a child. Yeah,
exactly. Which in the TV show they made it seem like it was something that was done specifically to her, but in the books and the actual lore, infertility is a side effect of becoming a mage.
Yeah, I think they said that in the...
They didn't. In the TV show, they specifically, took some of her organs out, her ovaries specifically, to make her beautiful, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what... In the books, it's something that happens to everyone. All mages and wizards end up being beautiful or handsome or whatever because they use magic to alter themselves. But it's the act of, becoming a mage or a wizard or a witch that makes them infertile. They say in the books there's like a 50-50 chance that it'll happen to everyone. And the beauty thing is just everyone does that because they're supposed to be these perfect beings, and it's just about an image thing.
Yeah.
And so, like, they hammed it up too much in the TV show, and I thought it weakened her as a character. But that's like a minor complaint. Like, they did Geralt perfectly in the TV show. They did Dandelion or Yesker perfectly in the TV show. Well, I have some complaints about him, but...
Is that the bard?
The bard, yeah. So his name is Dandelion in the books and the games, but that's because they translated it. His name is Yeskier, because in Polish, I think that means like flower or something like that.
Right.
But Yennefer overall is mostly a good character in the show. One character I think they did a disservice to in the TV show, and I'll be curious to see how they handle her in season 2, is the red-haired chick. What the fuck is her name? Why can I... She's like one of my favorite characters in the series, and I cannot remember her name.
The chick that he fought briefly at the beginning.
No, not her. Not her. She's a good character. I did like her, but she's a minor character in the actual books.
It's been many months. I don't think I remember all the characters.
I haven't seen it since I think last summer or last spring. It's been a while since I've seen it, but again, minor complaints. I've said all this before on the podcast, I think, so I don't want to reiterate too much. But
yeah.
Again, all of my critiques of the series are kind of minor, because it did justice to the source material more than it did injustice to it. And it helps that the main actor, Henry Cavill, is actually a huge fan of the Witcher series.
Yeah.
And so he's really doing justice to the character. Like, he's really enjoying the role, which I think is why he does such a good job as Geralt. Oh, that was the character that they did a really good job with, was Queen Calanthe. The mother of Ciri. Cool. Like they did her perfectly to the books and to the well, she isn't really in the series, she's only in the books. But she they did her perfectly in the TV show. Like, so there like I said, there are more things they got right than they got wrong, in my opinion. So definitely worth it. I'm looking forward to seeing season 2.
Yeah. Well, are you looking forward to seeing part 3 is the real question.
I think I probably should. Otherwise, I'll just keep rambling forever. All right, this is going to be the end of segment 2 of the TMCJ podcast. Thank you all for listening, and you will hear us again momentarily for segment 3. Welcome back to the TMCJ podcast. We are on segment 3, our wild card segment, and we got a brand new experimental game to try here. This was going to be our blank segment, which we were thinking of filling with story time or maybe having someone in for an interview. But neither of those things actually panned out. Instead, we came up with a brand new game for everyone. It's called, what was it? The name I think we settled on was A Challenger Approaches.
Yep.
The idea being, whoever's turn it is, either me or Blue, will pick 2 characters that we've modified in some way. They could be from fiction, from real life, from whatever. They either get some positive or negative attributes, however we decide to balance them, and they'll be pitted against another character that we'll try to balance equally. And there's a reason we try to balance them, and that reason is the other person then has to make an argument who they think wins and why. Then it goes back to the original person, who then has to play devil's advocate and choose the opposite one to him and make an argument for why they think, no, this other person wins. No matter how ridiculous, it doesn't matter if you agree or not, they got to make the counter argument. And again, there's not really a finite winner or loser in this. It's just,
I mean, if we do actually go, okay, yeah, no, your person does win. But that, I mean, I guess is a point. But like,
it might just it might just end up in a draw. In which case, you people listening, you tell us who you think won. But yeah, do you want to start us off with one of your first?
Yeah, hell yeah. Okay, so one of the rules we've set out is that the characters should ideally have, there should be a basic character, and then they should have one positive attribute we've added and one negative. Depending on how overpowered certain things are, we've done maybe 2 negative attributes or 2 positive attributes just to get things as close to the thing as possible. So, the first pairing of the day, alright? We're in a metropolitan area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just set the scene a little bit. And Godzilla has arrived.
Okay.
But he is human-sized.
Okay.
And he has the speed of a cheetah. So think of it one of those really derpy, like, dinosaur costumes
speed waddle
that people get. But a guy's running around in that, like, it's super speed. And he does actually have sharp teeth and stuff. Alright, versus the challenger that has come to stop him is Superman. But Superman is only invincible from the waist down. And he can only move as fast as the nearest old age pensioner. So he still has laser beam eyes and all that, but he's only invincible from the waist down, and he can only move as fast as the closest old age pensioner.
Okay.
Choose your champion.
I am going to say, and I'm going to choose what might be an unsuspecting or an unexpected one. I'm going to say that Superman wins.
Really? Okay, yeah. I did not think you were going to go with that.
I was leaning towards Godzilla first because I'm like, he's just going to melt Superman's top half off. But
Yeah.
doesn't matter how slow Superman moves. If he can still use his laser beam eyes and stuff, I say Superman maintains a distance. He doesn't get close to Godzilla and then just blasts him from a distance. And
What's
if Godzilla...
the effective range of them, though? It's a laser, so it goes on forever, I guess.
Well, not forever. Lasers do eventually dissipate. It depends on the type of laser we're talking about. But red lasers, they typically have a range of a few hundred meters, depending on how... If they're strong enough to melt stuff, it's probably like at least a kilometer.
Okay.
So I'm going to say... All right, no.
Sorry.
Okay, go on. Well, you get to make a counter
You're in a
case.
metropolitan area. There are people around. If you miss and it goes through a building, you could like cut 10 people in half.
He could, but I mean, it's his eyes. All he has to do is look at him. Or shout like, "Get the fuck out of the way!" and then look at him.
But he would also be having to look at something that's moving as fast as a cheetah. So the opportunity to miss is very high.
That's true. Superman may be, like, he may have PTSD after this, but I'm still saying Superman will kill Godzilla and then go into therapy after that.
Okay. I think, alright, so if this was just a one-on-one street fight, I think you're probably right. If Godzilla Cheetah ambushes him on the subway,
That's different.
Superman's fucked.
Or he just, like, bends over, because his ass is invulnerable.
He just bends over. He's just like, yeah, slaps his ass, come at me, Godzilla!
Okay, but no, so what's your argument for that?
Also, Godzilla, no qualms with killing people. Like I said, if there's any humans around, if it's in a tight enclosed space, Superman is fucked. Alright, that's like being a regular fucking human when there's an alien around. Like, he would just... And also, I don't think the laser beams would kill Godzilla instantly. I think he would have at least a couple of seconds to close the gap. I mean, he's a fucking cheetah speed, like, whoo!
You could get close to it. Cheetahs, yeah, they run at like 65 miles an hour, something like that.
So I think unless Godzilla had absolutely no brain, I think he would be able to, like... I think we can agree that if he gets close to Superman, he could rip his head off in a single bite, or like just flame him to death.
Yeah, if his upper half is vulnerable, then yeah, I could see that. Or, but I mean, if Superman sees him coming close, he could just like flip over and like do a handstand and kick him with his invulnerable legs.
Yeah, and also, I mean, okay, I don't want to fight for the enemy team, but it doesn't say anywhere that Superman can't fly.
That's true. He could just go up in the air.
Yeah.
Then the only thing Godzilla can see.
The effective range of Godzilla fireballs are.
What does it matter? He's shooting him from below. His legs are invulnerable.
That's true. He just sit on the fucking fireball.
He could. That's why I said he bends over. He goes ass first into fucking Godzilla's
He sees the fireball coming. He turns around. He like just butt bounces it back towards him. With the reflective power of my cheeks, bam!
Oh my god.
Oh shit. That's...
Okay.
God.
So I went and I didn't get nearly as detailed as you did with that first one. So
Okay.
my first one. By the way, do we want to make a judgment call on, is that one too ambiguous? Do we have a clear winner?
I think, personally, I would still side with Godzilla.
I mean, honestly, I chose Superman just for funsies, but I actually do think Godzilla would probably win.
Okay.
But part of that is just because I don't like Superman.
That's our opinion. If you guys at home thinking differently, that's fine.
Yeah. All right,
cool.
so I set this in the UK to facilitate your understanding.
Okay.
Santa
Nice.
Claus,
Okay.
but
Wait, just so I know, what area are we talking like a countryside? Or
you'll understand why.
Okay.
I localized one piece of this scenario, and you'll see it when
Gotcha.
I say the whole thing. So Santa Claus, with his sleigh, but it's equipped with a minigun.
Okay.
In a postal race versus the Royal Mail across Scotland, but the Royal
sounds very
Mail has
familiar.
the support of the RAF.
But Santa's able to cover the whole planet.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's able to like move quickly, right?
Yeah.
But he's also got supersonic jets chasing him.
But he has a minigun.
He has
I suppose so do the jets, but
Well, the jets have missiles too.
he is far too... If we're going by the logic that he can cover every house in the world in one night, so that's a few hours, then Santa Claus wins, hands down. That's my champion, by the way.
You're taking Santa Claus, and you're just saying that just
Hell
because
yeah.
of the
I mean,
speed.
Also, this is like this is very close to going postal.
I know that was the inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah, he would fucking trounce the Royal Mail.
Okay.
Especially because the Royal Mail, not great as it is.
So I'm gonna go
Yeah.
against this because I think no matter how fast he's going, they're gonna be
Right.
able to stop him. They got like hypersonic missiles. They got like that's why I gave the Royal Mail the support of the. By the way, for the Americans listening, the Royal Mail is it's the US. It's the postal service for the UK, and the RAF is the Royal Air Force. Their Air Force.
To be fair, I know a lot about the Russian? The American, military stuff. I probably would have known what you meant even if you said America.
I probably would have, but I said it in the UK just to help. All right, so just speed alone. He doesn't even need the minigun.
No, he doesn't need the minigun, because he's moving so quickly that no tracking system could keep a lock on him. Like, there's no radar that would be large enough.
What if they set
to
traps
track
for him?
that. How would you trap Santa
So
Claus?
we can.
Milk and cookies.
So just just some cookies floating in the air. No, think about it. Like NASA and like other space agencies, they can calculate planets which are moving much faster than Santa would be in this case. They can figure out where they're going to be and actually plot an intercept. So what I'm saying is they know where he's going. They know the trajectory he's on. He can't switch, he can't decelerate too quickly. He can't switch directions. Otherwise he's going to kill his reindeer. So they predict where he's going to be and when he's going to be and then launch a missile.
NASA have no influence in British politics, though.
Well, I'm just saying, NASA can do that. So
Oh,
why
okay, so
couldn't...
you're saying it's feasibly possible.
It's feasibly possible, so why can't the RAF just, predict, okay, we know Santa's trajectory, we know his objective location, boom, launch a missile at where he's going to be.
So you're going to blow up the place that the Royal Mail are also trying to deliver to?
No, in the air. I'm talking,
okay.
ground-to-air missiles.
I think a missile can't travel as fast as Santa can.
Well, exactly. You don't need it to. You just need it to blow up where he's going to be when he's going to be there.
Oh, I see, because they have, remote sites, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just he's traveling through the air, you know that in 3 seconds he's going to be at location X. And so you just fire a missile to location X and have it blow up in 3 seconds.
What package is being delivered?
Doesn't matter. Let's say toys.
Toys.
Just generic toys.
Okay. Yeah, because if it was just a letter, someone just at that end could just be like, "Oh, I'll pop down the road and give it to them."
That's true. Or it's an email.
Yeah.
Um,
If it's an email, the post office would probably be a lot better because I don't think Santa would know how to write an email.
Honestly, this scenario, I didn't think it through as well. Really depends on how much AA defense Santa has and how quickly he can move in that sleigh.
I mean, especially with a minigun, like, if he sees the missile coming, he could shoot it down.
In theory, but bullets don't, like, out of that wouldn't be moving that fast. Miniguns, it's a fairly small powder charge in the bullet, so the bullet velocity isn't going to be that fast for a minigun. Okay. The whole point of a minigun is to do, like, layered fire, like
spray,
coating. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the minigun's probably pointless.
It is probably pointless. I just put it on there because he needed to have something. I wasn't anticipating you taking, like, the speed avenue.
I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because if you think, like, he could travel from... Wait, where's the pickup point?
Like, southern Scotland to northern Scotland, so across Scotland.
Yeah. So that distance would take him less than 10 seconds.
Yeah. So they'd have to be prepped. But
that missile would need to fire real fucking fast, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And the poor Scottish bastard that's receiving a letter has Santa turning up with a minigun being exploded by a missile from the RAF. He's just like, this is why I wanted to leave the EU.
Oh my god. Okay, let's not dwell on that one for too long.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, okay, moving on to the next one. Wait, who do you think won that one?
I'm still siding with the post office.
The post office, okay.
Because I trust in their ability to blow Santa out of the sky.
This really had nothing to do with the post office. This was just the RAF.
It was the RAF versus Santa. That's really what it boiled down to.
And it wasn't trying to be delivering a letter. It was who could kill Santa before he delivers it.
Oh my god. Yeah, that took a very different turn than what I originally envisioned.
The next matchup. I'm going to set this one on the International Space Station.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, because that'd make it very broken. No, I'm going to set it in the Amazon rainforest.
Yeah, okay.
So on one side, we have Ripley from Alien.
Okay.
But her brain has regressed to that of a child.
Okay.
And she has the arms of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Just the arms?
Just the arms. So she's super fucking strong.
Okay.
She has the body of a normal woman, but the brain of a child.
Okay.
Versus Simba from The Lion King, but he can only move in darkness / the shade. And he has the power of flight. Sorry, it's a real fucking mixed bag on this one, yeah.
I'm going to say Simba.
Okay.
And the reason I'm going to say Simba is because all he'd have to do is wait for nighttime. And then she's fucking done.
Well, but even engaging in combat, she has the fucking power of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on her side.
She does, but she doesn't have the weight. So she could, like, grab onto Simba, but, like, all he has to do is, like, you know, whack her. She
can crush his throat.
If she can get his throat. If she can get her hand around it, then maybe that would be. But no. I'm saying also, Simba wins.
What if Simba is a cub?
Oh, if it's like baby Simba?
Yeah.
Oh, if it's baby Simba, then, you know.
Baby Simba is fucked.
Yeah, Ripley. Well, but she's got the mind of a child, so maybe she's like, oh, kitty, and then just is like, you know, wants him as a pet and doesn't kill him.
I still don't think, even as a child, even with that advantage, I don't think Simba would be able to kill her.
Well, baby Simba, I don't think he'd be able to. Honestly, I see this one ending in peace rather than war. Because it's baby Simba, mind of a child. I think she goes like the just like, oh, I get a baby kitty route.
I think much like in the first series of Digimon, I'm imagining Simba having like a black gear in him. That's why he can only move in shade and darkness. Because he's been corrupted in some way.
It's corrupt Simba, so he's just going to attack no matter what.
Indeed. I think as an adult, you're probably right. Like, she could, like, bear hug him if she gets lucky. Just crush him. But even then, lions are pretty fucking strong.
Oh yeah, and they're fast. Faster than you'd think.
And they can fly.
And, well, yeah, in this case, you can fly.
What do you mean? They can always fly, Kaiser. Idiot.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like how... Okay, so it's not something crazy and unreal like narwhals that are just made up creatures.
Shut up.
I'm never gonna let you live that one down.
I still can't believe they exist.
I should have put that on my list. Oh, fuck. Opportunity missed.
A narwhal. So I
think you're right, though.
That Simba would win.
If he was an adult, yeah.
Yeah, if he was an adult, yeah. If he was a child, I think it either ends in a draw or Ripley wins.
Yeah.
Okay, we're at consensus on this one. Okay, so I didn't change too much from this is like a scenario ripped right out of a movie, but I just made a couple tweaks. So Anakin Skywalker at the end of the third Star Wars prequel, but he has the high ground, and Obi-Wan Kenobi is on that platform in the lava.
Right.
But Obi-Wan Kenobi has a Negev.
I love that twist.
A Negev,
just
by the way,
what a Negev is.
Yeah. A Negev is a light machine gun. So it fires a fairly high caliber bullet, and it has a fairly large ammo capacity.
Can lightsabers reflect beams?
Well, that's the thing. Can they? Well, it can reflect beams, but it can't. Can it? Bullets? I think they just like melt in it.
Yeah.
But the momentum will keep going.
Yeah, the fucking, like, burning metal would go through then.
Yeah,
Unless it, like, literally dissolves it.
Yeah, so what do you think?
Okay, if we're assuming, because this is the Star Wars universe, that Negev would be firing lasers.
No. Actual bullets.
Bullets, okay.
So this is a non-Star Wars universe gun. This is an actual, like, our world Negev. So it's firing metal.
We never see any actual ballistic weaponry used in that, do we?
No,
so
not really.
No comparison to what would happen when they hit a lightsaber.
In some of the Star Wars games, there are weapons that fire like actual metal things, but they're rare.
Also, I feel like, and this is weird because in theory lasers should be like an instant like attack, but I feel like bullets would move faster than lasers do in that show. So I think it'd be a lot harder for a Jedi to block a bullet. Ooh, God, I haven't even chosen which champion yet, but I think I'm siding with Obi-Wan because he's just fucking badass. Everyone loves Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan and the Negev.
But for a start, Obi-Wan wouldn't jump.
Yeah, smarter tactician.
He would sit on that platform, lay down a base of fire, and Anakin would have to go to him, or reflect the bullets back, which I don't think he'd be able to do. So yeah, I think, considering Obi-Wan's end goal in that was not actually to kill Anakin anyway...
Just to stop him.
Yeah. I think Obi-Wan wins every time. Although, if Anakin gets onto the platform, Obi-Wan's fucked.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming he doesn't have a lightsaber.
Yeah, well, in this scenario, yeah, instead of a lightsaber, he has a Negev.
Okay.
Alright, so that's your argument?
Yeah.
Alright, my counterpoint, because I now have to defend Anakin. For the record, I agree with you. So I'm going to say Anakin uses, like, force push or something like that, and he can stop the bullets or deflect them. And he just does that, and he's, like, sweeping bullets aside.
Use lightsaber.
And then just kind of bobs and weaves, and then, like, force leaps onto the platform. And then, you know, like you said, Obi-Wan doesn't have a lightsaber, so he just cuts him down.
But then, Obi-Wan arguably has the better force powers. I think
Anakin's supposed to be stronger with force stuff, but
okay.
Obi-Wan's Obi-Wan's got more
if
training and experience. That was always the thing.
If he tries to, oh wait, can he? He can't block bullets while he's Jedi jumping, can he?
Maybe not. Well, or at least he's using two force powers at once, so he might be more distracted. That's why I kind of agree with you, because
times the jump and lands in the lava.
Negev can put down a lot of fire, so that's a lot of stuff that Anakin's got to get out of his way and dodge.
You gotta have focus on that. You gotta have concentration.
And he's pretty pissed. That's why I agree with you. But if I were gonna pick a scenario when Anakin won that situation, it would be him using force powers and dodging to essentially get all the bullets out of his way and then get on the platform and kill him.
Yeah, that's a real stalemate, I think.
I really like that one. I've barely modified it at all, but it's
good. I mean, honestly, you didn't even have to switch around their positions. I don't think.
It's true, but I mean, going uphill with a Negev firing down on you, I was trying to balance it a little bit more.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think I'm still with my man Obi.
Okay. I agree with you, but I think that there is a scenario in which Anakin wins. All right, go.
Yes, I agree. Okay. Well, hang on. How epic is your last one?
Oh, I've got a few more. I think that one was probably my best one.
I think we do one more each.
Okay.
And my last one, I think, is on point.
Okay. My last one that I think I'm going to go with is just funny.
Okay, should we go with that one first, then finish on mine?
All right, so I'll do two in a row?
Yeah.
Okay. Master Chief from the Halo franchise.
Okay, yep.
Wielding a rocket launcher from the Halo franchise.
Okay.
Fighting an angry gorilla in a closet.
Are we talking about, like, Donkey Kong, Harambe, Winston?
Harambe.
Harambe.
Yeah.
In a closet?
In a closet.
Well, he can't fire the rocket launcher then, can he?
Yeah, that's the challenge.
Can Master Chief, in the original game, if he fired a rocket launcher at his feet, would it kill him?
If he had an overshield, no.
Does he have an overshield in the closet?
No, he doesn't.
Can he come out of the closet?
He could. He couldn't. I mean, it's a normal closet. There's a door. Are you going to say that Master Chief is coming out of the closet?
He is or isn't gay. Okay. So yeah, sorry. He probably wouldn't have an overshield. I think
no.
It's fair to say.
Normal shield. The only tool so normal shield, normal health, rocket launcher, angry gorilla, closet.
See, I don't know much about the actual statistics of a Spartan. Like, could it withstand the force of a gorilla punching it in the face?
Yeah. Like between they actually could probably punch with the force of a gorilla.
I'm going with Master Chief then, because he could just snap Harambe's neck.
If you could get to him, yeah, it's very close quarters.
If you could get to him, it's a cupboard.
Well, get to his neck, I mean.
Oh, I see. To be fair though, getting meleeed in Halo does do a lot of damage, and a gorilla would have more weight behind his swing than one of those tiny little fuckers that you fight in Halo that do a fair amount of damage. And Harambe would be moving a lot faster than Master Chief. So if he just fucking whirlwinded in that closet,
doing the Donkey Kong spin,
yeah, that kind of thing, then he would. I think Master Chief would be concussed after like 2 seconds, and then he wouldn't be able to fight. Just from the sheer blows raining down him.
So you're going with Harambe?
I was originally going with Master Chief, but yeah, I think I'm going with Gorilla.
Alright. Well, I'll make the counter argument, because I do think that it would be Master Chief. I mean, not even thinking about the closet. Like, I think that he wouldn't even have to leave. He's smaller, quicker than the gorilla, so he just he just drops low, because the gorilla's got these big bulky arms. He's gonna have a hard time moving around in there. So Master Chief drops low and just ba-bam, gives him a
punches Harambe out.
Oh yeah,
but also he doesn't even need to use his fist. He could just bite through Master Chief.
But again, you're talking about a very small enclosed environment. That's why I'm saying Master Chief wins if he can get low and get in close. Because then the gorilla's too bulky, you can't really get to him. And plus he's in armor. Like, he's not going to be able to bite through him that easy.
I think Harambe could just crush the armor if he was that close.
Oh, it's titanium. pretty resilient metal.
I don't know the exact physics behind it, so I can't.
I've read all the novels, so I'm just maybe I'm a little bit better.
Are there any parts of the armor that aren't armored?
Oh yeah. There's
So.
there's like mesh joints in between the plates.
Oh, okay. What? So like one hit on the arm, and he's like got a broken arm.
Well, they also have the part of the augmentation for the Spartans was that they got metal infused into their bones, so they're extremely hard to break.
Oh, fucking hell. So it's basically Wolverine versus Harambe.
Yeah, essentially. It's better to think of, in terms of durability, the Spartans are like Wolverine level.
In which case, yeah, I think probably that. I'm trying to work out some way that the rocket launch could be useful. I mean, Harambe could accidentally... I mean, there's a lot of action going on in that cupboard. He could accidentally click the button.
Well, in that case, yeah, it's a draw, because that's going to blow them both up.
God, I'm imagining all this happening in, like, the scene being, like, you know, that under the stairs closet that Harry Potter lives in.
Oh my god.
The Dursleys.
I should have just said that. They're in Harry Potter's room. They're in his cupboard.
Just... Harry opens the door, looks in and sees them, just closes the door slowly again.
just like squished in Master Chief and Gorilla just looking out at him like... just like, oh. Hey Dudley, there's something in my room.
Exactly. Oh
all right.
Yeah, okay, no, I think you're right. I think Master Chief would probably win that if he has titanium bones and armor.
Yeah. Alright. You said you had an epic one for the final confrontation.
Alright, yes, the final of this week of A Champion Approaches. Many of you may not know these characters, but I know that Kaiser does. Okay? And furthermore, I urge you to look up these characters in post because they are amazing. Okay? The first contender. Long Man. But he is constantly being harassed by the girl from the commercial. And he has a whip made of the Long sweets that drains people's energy. Okay?
Okay.
You holding on?
Okay, yep.
Versus his deadly and most feared opponent, Panda, from the Panda commercials. But the panda cannot help but be aggressive to any living thing it sees. And he can teleport when out of sight. So if no one can see him, the panda can literally teleport behind his foe.
Okay. By the way, these are both from, like, Japanese commercials.
Yeah. They're very funny commercial series. So it's Panda Cheese, and I think Long Man is just look up Long Man if you're curious.
So good. But the Panda Cheese commercials are really good. Anyway, I'm just saying Long Man wins.
Right, okay.
Because I'm saying that guy is, like, he's savage, he's not going to give a crap about that girl, so he's going to use the whip to drain her of energy while keeping an eye on the panda, and then he's going to throw her at the panda, so the panda attacks her. And
I was going to say, the panda is going to attack whatever is closest to it.
Exactly. So he throws the girl at the panda, because he's savage. Okay. And then he's going to, while the panda's distracted, like mauling the girl, he's going to get behind the panda and get it with the whip, and then drain the panda of energy. I think,
because the panda is not stupid, right? Yeah. We know that. Like, it literally detached the fucking life support system from a guy rather than just pummeling him to death. So I think the panda would have the girl thrown at him. Wait, actually no, Long Man's not that strong. He could not throw the girl very far.
Yeah, so I'm just saying it's like a shove. Just like drain, shove.
Yeah, and I think the panda would literally just walk up, snap, and then be on to the next.
So you're saying...
I don't think that would distract him.
Okay, so you're saying the Long Man isn't quick enough to get around.
I think the panda is efficient enough as a killer that he'll be done with that in mere moments.
Seriously, people don't know what we're talking about. Look up these commercials. The Panda Cheese commercials and the Long Man commercials. They are hilarious.
Yeah. And yeah, like the moment the fucking that he leaves the site, Panda's suddenly behind Long Long Man, with his hands on his neck.
That's true. If the panda could get Long Long Man to like take his eyes off him for a second.
Yeah. But no, the panda can't tactically do that because he has to be instant aggro.
Yeah.
So it's more a fact that a Long Long Man can't run away or look away. He has to be facing down the panda the whole time. So you went with Long Long Man, right?
I went Long Long Man.
I mean, I feel like it would have to come down to a one-on-one fight because the panda can't be tactical about it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Long Long Man's got he's got a whip. He's got a range advantage. That's why if he can distract the panda for a few seconds with the random girl, then he can get the whip around the panda and drain him of energy.
As we know, Long Long Man is a master of disguise. Just naturally, like he can get like he just straight up gets a job and a motorbike at one point. Like he's very tactical. So yeah, I think you're right. I think Long Long Man has it.
Oh god, I want to watch those. I got that commercial like stuck in my head now.
Yeah. You watched it like last week.
I did. It's so good. Well, I've seen it. I've seen it before, like that. Like I've seen it ages ago. But all right. Well, that is going to be the end of this segment. I mean, let us know what you think of it. I thought that. I mean, I definitely had some fun with these scenarios. This is a brand new idea we came up in between segment 2 and 3, so it definitely needs some polish. But yeah, let us know what you think. If you enjoyed it, maybe we'll come back to it and do it again. But we're always trying to experiment.
I very much enjoyed it, even more than I thought I was going to. So I'd be totally happy with this coming back as a regular.
Yeah. So would I. Maybe one of our rotating like ones like story time or stuff like that just pop up every now and again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is going to be the end of the. Oh, sorry. This is going to be the end of episode 41 of the TMCJ podcast. Thank you all for listening, and hopefully you will tune in again soon.
Have an epic week.